They just kept turning up and were thought of as foreign, one-eyed and benign. They lie about his house, quernstones out of a bog. To lift the lid of the peat and find this pupil dreaming of Neolithic wheat. When he stripped off a blanket bog, the soft-piled centuries fell open like a glib. There were the first plough marks, the Stone Age fields, the tomb, corbelled, turfed and chambered, floored with a dry turf coombe. A landscape fossilized, its stone wall patternings repeated before our eyes in the stone walls of Mayo. Years of history are buried in this bog. 5,000 years of plants lie where they once grew, piling ever higher as the centuries passed. As we cut down through the bog, we pass backwards in time. These are the remains of plants which grew while Viking ships sailed along this coast as they controlled the seaways of Europe. Lower still, the heathers which flourished at the time of Christ and while Rome conquered its empire. Below this, at about 1000 BC, the era when the great Celtic peoples held sway throughout Europe. Deeper again, the vegetation which grew as the new technology of metalworking came to Ireland and great civilizations were developing in the East Mediterranean. Older yet, these plants were piling up when the pyramids of Egypt were being built. And beneath it all, buried intact under the bog, stone walls. The land surface of the earliest farmers, the settlers who arrived from mainland Europe, who cleared the forest which once covered this hillside, who enclosed their fields with stone walls which exist to this day. The turf spade strikes and exposes the stones. The first contact in 5,000 years between the Ceide farmer who lifted those stones into place and the Ceide farmer of today who uncovers them as he cuts his turf. And for generations of local farmers cutting their turf, the mysterious walls beneath the bog evoked images of strange peoples and distant times. But as distant in human times as this seems, the land of Ceide Fields is still older. The human history of 5,000 years is but a moment of its past. Like the bog, the cliffs on the northern edge of County Mayo tell their own story.
I am standing at the foot of Downpatrick Head, within sight of the Ceide Fields. Behind me at the low cliff you can see limestone rocks, Believe it or not, those rocks are 350 million years old. The layers that you can see are the pages of Earth's history, each following upon the other. Some of the rocks are hard and iron-stained. Some of the rocks are darker and made of clay. They weather out more easily. I am standing on one of those layers. It extends for a very great distance. And as I walk across it and down onto a lower layer, I am passing backwards in time. I have passed into an older layer on which, if you look closely at the surface, you can see traces of the abundant life that existed at that time. For 350 million years ago, Ireland had a tropical climate.
These cliffs have been sculpted by the great Atlantic Ocean. Whipped by winds, the waves gouge the rock. Caves are formed, and eventually the cliff face collapses, and the coastline retreats. An occasional remnant stands proud. Dumbrichte. Nothing has disturbed them. Not so the older rocks at Belderrick Harbour and places further west. These layers of rocks are not horizontal, but folded and contorted. Before the limestones of Ceide were laid on top of them, they were caught in a vice of colliding continents. From continents, in the space of geological time, are not fixed, but endlessly break and drift apart and meet together again. Drifting brought the tropical limestones of Ceide northwards to here. Collision folded the older rocks. Earlier still, rifting allowed fluid basalt to rise from deep below, seen punching upwards in Belderrick Harbour. The rocks of this coast, scraps of a history almost unimaginably long, have been fashioned by sea and weather into the landscape of today. The origin of the shells found in the loose clay and sand around these rocks tell of ice sheets only 10,000 years ago. Ice sheets which might have provided a passage for early settlers from elsewhere, whose descendants would, one day, farm the land of Ceide fields. As the ice melted, the sea level rose, and the island of Ireland was created. Fishing communities moved here from the mainland. If hunters came, they did not stay. The animals they had hunted in their homeland, wild cattle, roe deer, and elk, had not arrived on the island before the land bridge to the mainland disappeared beneath the waves. The fishing communities, on the other hand, prospered for over 3,000 years, clustered around rivers, lakes, and sea, gathering what plants they could, but depending in the main on the wealth of food the water provided. Then, about 6,000 years ago, new settlers arrived, bringing with them a new way of life, new knowledge and new beliefs. These people were farmers, surviving on the produce of the land rather than of the water. They brought cattle and sheep, wheat and barley. They used primitive ploughs. They fashioned cooking vessels. spiritual people. They constructed massive megalithic tombs for their dead. The farms of these ancients, so long buried beneath the bog, would look much like any normal country landscape. The stone-walled fields, the scattered dwellings.
The two bog-covered hills in the background, Ceide Hill close by and Shronaga Hill in the distance, extend over an area of about 4 square miles. And underneath the bog there's a highly organised countryside of stone-walled fields which were laid out by the first farmers something like 5,000 years ago. The stone walls which surround the fields contain something like 250,000 tons of stone, and they weren't casually laid out over time, but were highly organised, laid out as a single project which shows very high levels of organisation and of an organised community all that time ago. And if we superimpose the Ceide Fields plan on the present day landscape, we can see that the people who built these didn't build it in a haphazard way. They planned out these fields so that the long walls which run parallel to each other for mile after mile, that these fields follow the same line as the hillsides. They tell us a great deal about the people. First of all, that this is grassland for cattle. But it tells us about the size of community that were able to put this enormous project into place. There was obviously an agreed plan, a very large community to do that, to put it all in place. And secondly, the fact that the people lived scattered through the landscape, not living together for protection, but living comfortably as individual families in individual fields, does indicate how peaceful conditions were at the time, and that they were obviously under no threat, either from within the community or from outside it.
This remote community shared its farming tradition with the whole of Western Europe at that time, around 3000 BC. Similar tombs and artefacts have been uncovered elsewhere in the northern half of Ireland, in Britain, and on the continent. They were the contemporaries too of the farmers of the Boyne Valley, although these had different rituals and tombs. Looking at the Boyne Valley, we can only speculate on how the builders of the great tombs of Newgrange, Knowth and Douth organised their farmland. 200 generations of farmers have changed the landscape considerably. In contrast, Ceide Fields remains exactly as it was. Why Ceide Fields came to be buried under metres of bog is not a question for the archaeologist alone to answer. Did the Ceide farmers themselves destroy the prosperity of their farms, or did the bog encroach because of other factors?
Bog is just dead plants, and the living plants of today are actually growing on the corpses of their own ancestors. And bog grows best where it's cool, and particularly where it's very wet. You see, all of that moisture in the bog excludes oxygen, and it stops the bog plants from rotting away. So they accumulate there year after year. Now, why did the bog grow here on Ceide? Why did it grow here 5,000 years ago, just after the first farmers had cleared the forest, perhaps, and built their stone walls like this one here? Well, there are two thoughts about that. One is that the climate changed, that it just became wetter, and that extra water on the surface of the ordinary mineral soil allowed the plants to accumulate without rotting. But the other thought is that maybe the farmers themselves had something to do with it. You see, under forest, quite little rainfall actually gets down onto the forest floor. Under some forests around here now, maybe something like 70% of the rainfall lands on the leaves, and then it evaporates without ever getting down onto the forest floor. Well, if things were anything like that 5,000 years ago, you can imagine that the first farmers clearing the forests allowed vastly more water down onto the forest floor, and that extra water might have been what allowed the dead plants to accumulate without rotting away.
Even though the growing bog eventually forced people off the Ceide Fields, it does not mean they were forced out of the region. In North Mayo, often within a few miles of Ceide Fields, we can see human settlements continuing in an unbroken chain right through to today. Later megalithic tombs and ring forts in this region are a testimony to thousands of years of rural communities. And as the bog continued to grow over the lonely walls on Ceide Mountain, St. Patrick brought Christianity to Ireland, leaving his mark here in the name Downpatrick Head, the start of Ireland's golden age. This church in Kilcunnan dates from that time. Later still, the more formalised monastic foundations of medieval times are evident here in Rathfran Abbey, a few miles to the southeast. The bog continued to grow and continued to protect the story of another people and another time. Throughout the 19th century, as the boglands on Sherlock Hill overlooked the growth of the market town of Ballycastle, generations of landowners and farmers lived and prospered, struggled to survive the famine, and prospered again and worked the soil here. The numerous scars left by generations of turf cuttings tell the value of the bog as a source of fuel. Cutting back into centuries of deep-piled vegetation, they reveal the greatest secret of all, the Ceide fields.
This video is 18 minutes long.